Stuff to break down. Some significant injuries potentially we're gonna have to worry about. But Trey Henderson is back in a big way. Marvin Harrison is the best player in the country. Should be the Heisman favorite. So we're gonna get into all that right now. But as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Very thankful and grateful for you guys. As always, subscribe, click like, and also click the little alert button. Tell me where you guys watching from, and also tell me who are your MVPs. Got to go Trey Henderson. Trey Henderson is an absolute difference maker, the best running back in the entire country. Was back in a big way tonight. He iced the game down with a long touchdown reception. We're going to get right into that. Nevada, it wasn't necessarily pretty, but against Wisconsin, Camp Randall, I just want to win by 1 point. There's a lot of stuff, obviously, to get better at, clean up, whatever. Wisconsin, that was their Super Bowl. They played like it. We caught a big break when their superstar running back, Braylon Allen, got hurt and did not play in the second half. But what were your thoughts on the game, and how good is Trey Henderson?
Well, Trey Henderson, you don't want to come and spike the ball and jump around and do the touchdown dance right now, but it's like I've taken so much abuse for the last 3 years, including this year, from so many Ohio State fans about my defense of Trey Henderson. And every time that they do that, I say, guys, he has something different that we just don't have. He possesses that gear. He has that burst. And it's been tiring. So I don't even have the energy to gloat about it. But you guys all know my position on Trey Henderson. It's been well documented. And all those people that were complaining about him, and go, just take a lap, maybe suspend yourself for a day or whatever it is. But like, he's so good. He's so good, and he can do it all. And for the people to say he won't be a good NFL back, or the NFL teams don't like him, wrong. He's going to be a great NFL back, and boy, he makes a world of difference. I mean, the running game today, you look at I don't know what the final stats were, but I know his numbers were ridiculous.
I'll give them to you right now while we're on here. Trey Henderson, 24 carries, 162 yards, 6.8 average, 1 touchdown, a long of 33, and 4 receptions for 45 yards with a long of 30. So yeah, MVP, it's unanimous. It was much better than even Marvin. But go ahead and continue.
No, he just makes such a difference. And, as for the game, it was just one of those days. And we've talked about it all week. This was not a surprise. We've talked about, the concept of letdowns and what happens when you let down. And, to Ryan Day's credit, I don't feel like the team was let down. I don't feel like the team played without energy. I don't feel like the team played without juice. Kyle was just not good today. He just wasn't good. And, when your quarterback's not good, and when he was as bad as he was in the first half, it really limits you. But despite all that, we won. And, college football is a war of attrition. Just win, survive, advance, improve. The defense is so good. We talked about the entire offseason about the defense, about what was going on. We addressed all the fire Knowles stuff. Remember all the gimmicky defense stuff for the $2 million man cracks that we'd hear about Jim Knowles? How much is he worth now? At $2 million, he's a bargain, dude. He's a bargain. I mean, that defense is so freaking good. I mean, that defense bailed us out again and again and again and again tonight. Remarkable effort. They just look, really coherent. I mean, there's some stuff that we can improve upon, but boy, it's a good defense. It's a responsible defense. And it just, like I said, they just played. They're resilient. That stand at the end of the first half was a huge play, huge turning point in the game. And all the credit in the world to those guys. Defense is balling out, and hey, we won, man. I would have been happy with a 1 point win. I do not care about style points. I do not care about the polls. I care about none of that. I care about just winning, and we won. And I just hope that the injuries, Ransom going off the field, no bueno. Kyle limping around like that, no bueno. We have a tough game next week at Rutgers. That's a tough game. Rutgers is coming off a bye. So, we talked about it this week. Maybe the trap game wasn't this week at Wisconsin. Maybe the trap game's next week at Rutgers. Because, we're going to be banged up. We've got a lot of injuries. We're kind of hobbled. And they're coming off a week of preparation. So, going to have to do it one more time. And I'll say the same thing I said this week. Let's just find a way, man. Find a way. Win by 1 point. Find a way. I don't care about screw the rankings, screw the committee and the bowl thing, and I care nothing about that. Just find a way to win by 1 point next week, and let's get it on.
Yeah, that's all that matters. And I know people, they want it to be like NCAA football 2014 and win every game 77 nothing, but this is not the human element. It looks like Washington did escape. Washington was losing to Stanford late. So I don't know how good Washington is, but they're 8-0, and obviously they beat Oregon. Oregon looked unbelievable against Utah today, but it's hard to win every week. And this was one of, there were 3 games on the schedule that you circled at the start of the year. Obviously, Penn State in the shoe was last week. Then this trip to Madison, night game after an emotional Penn State win, a brutal physical Penn State win. So again, when we went up here to Camp Randall, I was like, just win by 1 point. And we've seen that 03 team was a team that was projected to win the national championship again, had 20 starters back from the team that beat Miami. They went down up at Camp Randall. That 2010 team that ended up being 12-1 and won the Sugar Bowl, first SEC victory ever against that Arkansas team, they lost at Camp Randall. Just go win at Camp Randall. Don't sweat it. I know everyone's going to have anxiety. McCord didn't look great. He turned the ball over. A couple of took a bunch of sacks because, those intentional groundings are sacks. So those count as sacks. So, I mean, he had some snafus, but Trey Henderson is the great deodorant because God was he good. God was he fresh, different, bursty. I mean, he's every bit of a first round pick. I mean, the only reason he wouldn't be a first round pick is just frankly, running backs don't really go in the first round. I know Bijan did and Jahmyr Gibbs, but it's just not, analytically a position that goes in the first round very often. So, but there's no reason, like if you're, a Super Bowl team like the Kansas City Chiefs, you wouldn't consider adding a guy like Trey Henderson. Because, I mean, he's different. He's Alvin Kamara. He can catch the ball. He's quick, nifty, can, carried the team on his back, 160 yards. Again, Chip with the same blocking average, like 2.2 a carry, and Trey averaged 6.8. So, again, he's light years better than the rest of our backs. Chip is a nice guy, maybe a 7th round pick if he tests great. Mayan will never get drafted. Trey is the guy. And again, he's a guy that people better enjoy him while he's here. Because I know everybody likes to bag on these guys, bag on him and bag on some, Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau because they don't get sacks, whatever. But like, we're going to miss those guys because they're really Tyreek. I mean, Tyreek is an absolute monster. He's the best defensive tackle in the country this year. He's been unbelievable. He had another sack tonight, dominate up front. As soon as he goes out of the game, they decide to run up the middle and they get yardage. But when he comes into the game, they can't move him. Defensively, Nevada, who are some of your standouts? I like seeing Sonny Styles. He's back at deep safety, not coming off the field now. If Lathan, he was seen walking back out to the field to see how severe his ankle is. But I like seeing Sonny out there. Big rangy dude, especially going to Rutgers, a physical team. Your thoughts on Sonny and just the defense in total?
Sonny's best game by far. I mean, people have been clamoring for Sonny, but I think he's just been okay to good. I thought he was really good tonight. I thought he was impactful. I thought he was tremendous. I mean, obviously, JT and Tyreek and Mike Hall and the entire defensive line, did a fantastic job. Again, are they perfect? No. Could we get 4 more sacks? Yes. Could we stop some plays? Sure. But I mean, we're giving up 10 points a game now. Now we're 8 or 9 games. I lost track how many games we're in the season. It's funny you were talking about the games that were like kind of circled on the schedule, and it just goes to show you, like, you didn't even mention at Notre Dame earlier. You know what I'm saying? I know. It's like, wow, only at Notre Dame, Penn State at home, then at Wisconsin, and it's like, we're just going through this in defense, number 1 or number 2 in the country. And people are like, well, I'm still not sure. I'll wait and let you know. And November, it's like, no, just enjoy it now, guys. Stop with the waiting. Like you said, Trey Henderson. There hasn't been a player that's been more maligned that in terms of being a good player.
It's absolutely insane. By the way,
it's insane. It's absolutely insane, and the fact that he's so good and that people just miss it, and he's going to leave and people are going to go, Dallin Hayden. I can't wait for Dallin. Dallin Hayden can't do what Trey Henderson can do. He just can't. And I love Dallin, and Dallin's great, but he's not Trey Henderson. Nobody on the roster is Trey Henderson. So the running game magically got. If Trey Henderson's hurt, if his ribs aren't good enough to go tonight, we lose. We lose tonight. I mean, if Trey Henderson didn't make his play at Notre Dame, we lose at Notre Dame. I mean, that's how big of an impact he has on these games. So, enjoy him while he's here. Is he perfect? No. Can you make? Oh yes, I wish that he played more. Well, I'm sure he wants to play more too. Like is Emeka Mr. Glass because they held him out again tonight? No, you got to get right. When these guys are
Oh,
right, last year Trey wasn't right the whole year, and people bagged on him. And then this year breaks his ribs, wants stays out because the ribs aren't ready, and then people bag on him, and it's kind of like, what? This kid just cannot win. So hey, Emeka, get better, get 100%, and then come back. Will Emeka make a difference? Sure, he will.
yeah.
Will Trey make a difference? Sure, he will. But I hope Devin Brown's ankle gets better because Kyle was. I mean, look, this isn't personal, but Kyle was just. I mean, Kyle almost single-handedly lost the game for us tonight. I mean, he did.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, he turned the ball over at inopportune times when we had huge momentum, when we had a chance to put the game away. It happened, but we won. So you know something, I'm not sad about anything tonight. I've just got the perma grin on my face. I'm
Yeah.
so happy for
Yep.
the win, and we can talk on the board about stuff that we can improve and stuff do it. But in terms of being happy, man, my happiness chart is 100 out of 100. Thrilled with the victory. Was up and screaming in my living room with my two boys, and like I said, couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm at. Again, like in college football, it's just win every week. You know, again, we're marching towards Michigan. We know what's coming. Rutgers will be a test because they're 6-2 or whatever. And again, don't underestimate a team coming off a bye week, especially another guy who was hated by all the fan base was Greg Schiano, and Greg Schiano's got it cooking out there. I mean, Rutgers was the worst team in the universe under Chris Ash, and then Kyle Flood was terrible. But then Greg Schiano shows up; they're pretty good. So these guys gotta get on the flight. They're probably just getting out of the stadium now, or they'll be out there in about a half hour. They gotta load the buses up, get on the plane. They'll get home at like 5 a.m. tonight. I mean, these night games suck in the Big Ten. I'm telling you, these players, coaches, whatever, head straight to the facility for the coaches, start preparing for Rutgers. But Rutgers had a whole week to watch this game, scout Ohio State, whatever. But yeah, I just think Trey he's so special. He's a guy that, again, people, for whatever reason, he's the guy. There's always people that we beat to death and we just, for whatever reason, we hate. And Trey's like one of those guys that like the fringe lunatic fan base just can't stand the guy. And I think that like you guys are, I mean, like we're going to miss this guy when he's gone. Marvin's Marvin. Marvin was fantastic. I would throw it at Marvin half the snaps, except for the one where Kyle tried to force it and we threw that pick in the end zone. Who else stood out to you? Like we mentioned Tyleek, Xavier Johnson. I love the orbit motion counterplay. That was beautiful. But who else stood out to you, Nevada?
Yeah, X running that orb. I was just thinking about that. I thought that was terrific. From a blocking perspective, it was hard to tell. I need to go back and watch to see. I mean, clearly the run game was working better than the passing game was, but it just felt like Wisconsin was just selling out. It just felt like they were just selling out, stop and run. And I said this on the board, but like if just one time when we're doing that delay handoff, on the counter action, if our quarterback would just keep it and bootleg around the backside, that 24 couldn't just keep coming flat down the line and making the plays from the backside like he was. And
Yeah.
it's funny when we ran the bootleg action the one time, McCoy throws an interception, and so I'm like, oh man, we're not going to see bootleg again. But I wish that we would do more of that. I wish we'd run more constraint. But we got some stuff, we got some stuff going. But I really want to see how many loser plays did we have? How many times were we outnumbered? It sure seemed like they had an awful lot of guys in the box, and we're running people in there, and it was hard to count.
Yeah, here, I mean, we're basically running this is like basically an ISO play, except we've got X. This is really hard for X. He's a wide receiver. They're basically asking him to play fullback. He's going to come in here, insert between the guard and tackle. But if X gets this is a house call in the first play. This is literally the first play of the game. Watch this. So he's got to come in here and find space, and that's his guy, and that's the guy that Trey runs into. But he's expecting X to throw on this guy. Like if this guy's out, if our receivers block better, our receivers aren't great at blocking. I'm gonna say that. If X takes this guy out like he's supposed to, Trey's gone. First play of the game. Instead, we get 9. But a big reason we don't get a lot of explosives is because you got to delete this guy. If you're one of these wide receivers, you got to take him out. And this is hard on X. Like I hate when they ask these guys to do stuff that they're not used to doing. Like a receiver coming inside and getting through the muck to go to the free safety, it's tough. But if X comes in here and just gets a piece of this guy. I mean, this is gone. There's nobody there. I mean, that guy ain't catching him. That guy's not getting Trey right there. So, again, but that's 9 on the first play. Trey looks like he's been shot out of a cannon. It's just amazing. What was up? We got a super chat. Larry Daniels, appreciate you, my man. He couldn't tell what was up with Stover night. I just think that this is one of those nights where he wasn't the guy. Like, maybe they were trying to work him in a little bit and he was covered, but G. Scott actually stepped up and had a couple nice catches, like to help us convert and move the chains. But yeah, I don't think did Cade have a catch. I don't think he had one. If he had one, I missed it.
I don't think he even had a target. I don't think he was targeted one time.
Yeah, I mean, he was out there blocking, but like they just really weren't featuring him real well. We got to get a little better on some of our protection stuff. This is rough here. We got a low snap. This is second play of the game. This should be easy right here. We got a 5-man pro. They're only bringing 4 guys here, and we let a guy go scot-free. But it's a low snap, so everything gets screwed up when the quarterback has to look at the ground. It throws his eyes off of where he's wanting to go, because he's wanting to go, right here, and everything's screwed up by the snap. So that's on Carson. He'll get better at that. Just try to fish through and find some of the plays. What do you think of the line overall? Like, I thought that they had their moments, but it's Camp Randall's a different beast. It's tough to play there. It's loud. It's a night game. The place is rowdy. We got another super chat. Kyle played meh. Turnovers are gonna kill us. Yeah, turnovers will always kill you. They'll really kill you when you play a team that's got players that are as good as yours. Like we overwhelm Wisconsin with our overall talent and guys like Marvin and Trey just carrying us. But home run Hendy, I kind of like that. Home run Hendy strikes again. Totally agree, dude. I mean, he's a different cat. But your thoughts on the turnovers, Nevada?
Well, you just can't turn it over. I mean, turnovers is you played for Jim Tressel. He's every possession's got to end with a kick. And a kickoff, a punt, or an extra point. But like, it can't be a turnover. And we had too many of them. And the really bad one when the guy was playing his own defense and he stepped in front of Marvin. You don't like it, but you kind of understand it. The one where it was all in front of him in the end zone. That's one.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. Now, this is what people don't understand. They don't hear. That's what Kyle was doing for 3/4 of fall camp. He would make plays like that you would just go, what is he doing? Yeah. And so you wonder why at the beginning of the year, we're like, man, I'm not sure if he's the guy. That's where Devin Brown might be a better alternative. It's because Kyle would make plays like that. Not because people didn't like Kyle or not because, they don't like the name McCord or whatever it was. It was just, he all of a sudden just tries to force it sometimes, and that was the one that was inexplicable to me because it was all in front of him. There was nothing about that play that was hidden. There was nothing. He should have seen that and just thrown it away and just eaten it and lived to play another day, but he didn't, and it almost cost us.
Yeah, this is a fantastic sneak. This is a great job by the center here by Carson. Again, their nose was a good player. He's the guy that got the really stupid penalty to start the game, but watch the push on the nose guard. This is really, really good. Really, really good. And they push him right back. Nice crease. Again, you need a yard. A sneak is almost undefeated if you're good at it. That's fantastic by Carson Hinsman and by the interior of the line. Great by McCord to hang onto the ball there. Talk a little bit about adding the sneak. Go ahead.
No, but let's talk. Yeah, our sneaking. I know we did it at least twice. Maybe it was 3 times, but we were undefeated on the sneak, and they didn't come close to stopping it. And that's great. And the one time we ran instead on the 3rd and half a yard, we ran Trey and he got killed, and then they called him for unsportsmanlike conduct near the end zone. But it's like, why aren't you sneaking in that situation?
So this is an interesting wrinkle that they put in. I haven't noticed this. So they put Cade Stover at right tackle, and they put Gee right here on the edge, kind of in like a hip position, like a field goal protection. And then you get your double team here, double team here, double team here, double team. You put Josh Fryer over here at tight end. He's literally touching Jimmy's leg just so that he can get off on the mark, because he can't really see the ball from all the way out there at tight end. He's not used to that. But this basically guarantees that you're getting a double team on the nose, double team on the 3 technique, and it's going to go right here. So this is like a design. This isn't like a sneak where you pick the bubble on either side. This is designed to go to the left, and it's executed great. I mean, 2 good double teams. Donnie needs to be a little lower here, but Matt's our strongest guy. So Matt comes down here and hammers this guy with Carson. That's really good. I don't love Cade on a 3 technique but he gets it done. It's tough, and that guy gets his hands on the quarterback. But this is one where I put Luke Montgomery here. I put him in that 98 jersey and have him go in there and seal. But this is I like it. It's just a wedge block, but I didn't notice it. This is called unbalanced when they put the tackle over here and they put the tight end at right tackle. But that's just a different wrinkle that I hadn't noticed before. Go ahead, Nevada.
Yeah, no, look. I think like on that play, you know, Trey needs to be a little bit more enthusiastic about his pushing in the back, and I kind of like the way that Josh kind of looped behind and started pushing. I mean, the push from the back on that stuff is really critical. On the thing,
Oh
you
God.
wonder why the Eagles are so good. And people talk about, well, Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds. Well, also it's because the guy behind him grabs him under the shoulder pads, underneath the back of the shoulder pads, and propels him forward with it. That's why they're so good at it. It's not Jalen Hurts. Hulu has live sports in his bench of 600 pounds or squat of 600 pounds. They're launching him from the pads. So the guys from behind have got to be a little bit better about that. But again, we were 2-0 on the sneaks. Use the sneak, Ryan. We'll do it the easy way. Even though I thought we got good Ryan tonight. I didn't
Yeah.
really have too many problems with the play calls. Even when they didn't work, I didn't have too many. There was a few that I'd like to have back, but I thought we got good Ryan tonight and got the win.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought Ryan, he did a nice job. Again, this is, you knew they're going to pull out all the stops. You knew that, they got Trussell as their D coordinator. Mike Trussell, that's Jim's nephew. They got Luke. I mean, those guys, they would have sold their souls to win this one, and they weren't good enough tonight. Gonna go into Julian's throw. This is something I wish that the line was a little bit more physical. So here they end up dropping 8. They only rushed 3. And, I wish that these guys would go find work, especially Fryer. He needs to go get this guy on the hip and get him on the ground and go punish these guys. Because when you have basically 5-on-3, 2 of these guys should be getting killed. They should be getting double teamed, and you should put them on the ground. Like, I mean, if you got one guy getting bull rushed, the other guy should come in and hit him right in the ribs and knock him out. But this is a nice lace throw right here. Good catch by Julian. Again, I think he got dinged up. This might not have been the play, but he's had the shoulder issues like his whole career basically. So hopefully he's okay because he was a little dinged. We saw some Carnell in there. That was a nice throw by Kyle. Kyle, he, like you said, he can throw those ropes and look like Tom Brady at times. And then there's times where he just makes like boneheaded plays. And sometimes the protection fails him. Sometimes he's just holding on to the ball too long. But like that Penn State, that was the play of the game when Penn State, when there was that fumble and they ran it back. I know there was a holding call in the middle of the field, and that's probably why I double clutched it. But he just has to hang on to the ball because again, sacks aren't the worst thing in the world. Turnovers are the worst thing in the world. I mean, you can take a sack, that's fine. Like Peyton Manning's taking sacks, Tom Brady's taking sacks, but you can't fumble it and turn it over. Especially like when we're in scoring range for our field goal kicker. Our field goal kicker's been fantastic this year. He's only missed, I think, 1 field goal. I'm going to break down the score.
Kirk,
Good.
Now, Kirk, let me just ask you a question. Have we taken more intentional grounding penalties this year than in the history of Ohio State football?
Yes, absolutely. I can remember I can remember one ever, basically. Like this year.
How many? You mean one this year you can remember, or like before this year?
20 years of following Ohio State before this year.
Okay.
This year we take them every week. We had 2 tonight.
Exactly. I mean, we've had it like 10 times this year already.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's a problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, those count as sacks. It's a loss of down. I mean, it's better to take the sack because you're gonna lose yardage anyways. Except you lose your down too. No, it's just weird because I think he panics, and the one he threw at Josh Fryer, and I mean, it was an obvious incomplete pass, but make sure that's going forward because I mean, there's the Wisconsin guys are running to scoop and score thinking it was a lateral. But I mean, he took 2 tonight, and we took a bunch. Here's the orbit again. This set up the counter game that I really liked. I love this play because it's so easy. It gets X a touch. X is a guy that deserves touches. You get him out on the edge. You got your lead blocker in Trey. Or no, excuse me, that's Chip. I like Chip as a blocker. I mean, he really gets after these guys. But he just kind of fishes his way for an easy 5 yards. And again, that is a lot harder to defend in general when you mix it up than just running it in the A gap. And really, you don't have to get like a bunch of total butt kicker blocks. Like you just get guys out in space and you let them kind of run. That's something that X is really good about. And I want to find that counter. Good.
we probably ran that play 4 or 5 times today, and I'll bet you our success rate on that was maybe 7, 8 yards a time that we ran that play.
Yeah.
I mean, they
It's a great play.
they never stopped it. They never
Yeah.
stopped it. I mean, even our little quick pitches to the outside worked, because they were, when you bring
Oh
stuff to
yeah.
the outside against people that are going in like that, it just makes it so much easier on the running backs. It makes it easier on everybody, and you get out of the congestion. But that orbit motion was working like a charm.
Yeah. We got a few more super chats. I'm gonna check these out real quick. Um, oh my god. All right, Taco Nation, appreciate you, my man. Can we get a PSA on the Honda McCord joke? You're not clever nor original. Really enjoying the scene. Most enjoyable in a while. Did you call him Honda Accord tonight? I don't think I mean, there's Maserati Marv, and then there's, I mean, the Honda McCord thing just seems kind of funny. But you didn't coin that, did you? Or did you?
Honestly, I've never even heard that. I don't
Oh,
even.
you haven't?
Nah, I haven't paid. Are people calling that on the board? Is that what it is?
I think it's on like Twitter and on the board and stuff because like last week Gus Johnson kept calling Marvin Harrison Maserati Marv, so then they started calling Kyle McCord Honda McCord, which it's kind of clever, it's kind of funny. I mean, I don't really care, but it's I mean, people have been called worse than that. For all the McCord criticism, it's critical to remember that he remains healthy and his ankle is okay. I agree. Like that's the biggest thing about these games, man. Is like if we get out of here without any major injuries and we also win the game, that's a win. Because again, Wisconsin, they end the game with a loss, and their best player didn't look too hot. I mean, he couldn't put any weight on his ankle, but somehow he was able to stand on the sideline for the whole second half, which is kind of weird. But what were your thoughts when you saw that Braylon Allen was done? Because for me, that took a nice big old kind of weight off my shoulders. So I was thinking, that guy is legit. But we stopped him at the goal line, which was huge. But then he didn't come back out for the second half. What was your thoughts on that when that all went down?
Well, a couple things. One, I remember, I can't remember who wrote it, but I was reading something about somebody was just like slobbering all over Braylon Allen about how he was way better than everybody on Ohio State's roster, and he was better than Trey Henderson, and they take him. And
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. I can't remember who that was, but I chuckled about that. Yeah, what a bad take. And secondly, I think Tommy Eichenberg standing him up at the goal line.
Oh God!
And that just kind of defined the game. To me, if you said what play represents 2023 to you, it's that. It's Tommy freaking Eichenberg standing him up 1-on-1, and he stands him up. And I think Tyleek came in from the backside and had the presence of mind not to drive him into the end zone, but he pulled him back. I mean, how many times have you seen defensive players come from the backside and just propel the offensive player forward when they're hitting him? I mean, Tyleek came out. Just what a great play! Stopped him, held to 3 points. Just an enormous play by the defense, and just can't say enough good things about those guys. What an effort!
Yeah, I'm gonna break down the sack fumble real quick. This is the first drive. I mean, this is something that you can't do up in Ann Arbor because they're actually good enough to actually beat us. These guys weren't. But, Josh gets beat here. He's laid off the count. Again, this is something where, when he's not looking at the ball, he's late. So you can see he's a little bit late off the mark. The guy that's really good at getting off is him. That's why he gets so many false starts because he's right off on the mark, like literally like perfection. And again, I think that's why they bag on him for having 22 false starts. But I think sometimes he gets off so quick that it looks like a false start, but it really isn't because he gets off on the mark like Trent Williams. Like he's unbelievable. Like David Bakhtiari, the guys that are really good left tackles. But Josh is a little late here. Hands aren't good. This guy's decent. But Kyle's just gotta hang on to this thing, man. I mean, he's got a guy on him. And this is a front side guy. This isn't even like the dreaded backside hit. And he's got to hang on to this ball. I mean, again, go ahead.
But Kirk, you look at that play, and it's like, look, some quarterbacks have good pocket presence. And again, I'm not expecting Kyle to be Tom Brady or to be, Aaron Rodgers. But we can talk about guys that just have a feel. They know how to move up in the pocket, how to move around, how to move the spot. Kyle just doesn't have that. And that's, as a result, we end up with strip sacks. We end up with intentional grounding penalties. We end up, and it's like, I'm telling you, that's a product of Kyle. Because on this play right there, Fryer's taking him wide and deep. Kyle's got to step up and get past this guy. That's not a Josh. That's an acceptable block by Josh Fryer for
Yeah.
99% of the quarterbacks. You just can't be a statue and stand back there and let the guy strip you. You just can't.
Oh,
You've got to be.
absolutely.
You just. You know that as a right tackle better than anybody.
Oh, dude, I'm saying, like, Josh, like, it's not perfect, but I mean, dude, help this guy out. I mean, look how deep he is. You know, he starts at 5 and he gets back to what, like almost touching 8-9 yards, like right there. You know, I mean, you're that deep, dude. I mean, you got to step up. I mean, because the interior is completely firm, the edges are wide, and you just got to step up and throw the ball. And if it's not there and they're running the picket fence, then just go run. I mean, it's 4th and 3, so he's waiting for something to develop. But you know, I mean, he's got to step up and throw this to Julian right here. You know, I mean, Julian might get knocked off.
Look how deep he is when he gets contacted. He's 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He is 7 yards behind
the line. The line's right. The line is right here. So, you know, and he gets back to what, about here? You know, so there's
40.
2, 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's 9 yards. That's 9 yards. So I mean, that's, you know, 9-10 yards. So I mean, that's on him. Again, like I'm not like just starting the union for offensive tackles, but he's got to step up and get rid of that ball. Because again, here's the thing: like, if you want to play in the league, these guys all want to play in the league, dude. Every week there's going to be Nick Bosa, T.J. Watt. There's going to be a guy that's going to be hard for your practice squad right tackle to handle, and you better be able to move around in the pocket, and you better be able to hang on to the football. You better be able to, you know, throw it under duress, because you don't get many clean pockets in the NFL. Because I'm telling you, the pass rushers they're different animals up there, dude. And you know, and guys get hurt, and you're not going to have Ohio State level talent around you, surrounding you. But yeah, that again, I think that, you know, Josh is the guy that's going to get bagged on, but you know, Kyle's going to help him. You know, like the whole pass protection thing is a coordination between the offensive line and the quarterback, and sometimes if the running back stays in to help protect the running back, but it's not just, the tackle got beat. I mean, could he have been better? Yeah. Could he be helped out by his quarterback? Absolutely. Like, I mean, the quarterback's got to step up and go be a quarterback and go throw that ball, because it was 4th and 3 and he's waiting for the perfect thing, but he's just got to check that thing down to Julian. Who else stood out? Again, like I just can't say how impressed I was with Trey. Again, I think Trey is, you know, he's our dude, man. I mean, he's the guy that we're going to need up at Michigan. He's the guy that we're going to need the rest of the season. I don't know how much you want to need him at Rutgers, but like, we play those Minnesotas, Michigan States. You know, I think you got to run him a little bit to keep his conditioning, but I think you got to also work in the other guys, working Chip, working if Mine ever comes back, whatever. But talk to me about like your prospects for the rest of the season. I think we got another super chat. Yeah, exactly. Larry Daniels nailed it on the grounding call. McCord had a perfect U-shaped pocket to step into. Yep. I mean, you guys can see it. I mean, that's why we're breaking it down on this tape, because I think you guys like breaking that down. I think Nevada's whimpering. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's Mr. Chico. One of my kids has brought Mr. Chico in, so he's asking me to pet him right now, and so I'm petting the Chewini as I'm talking. No, look, I've thought that this was a team of destiny for some time. I said it a few weeks ago. I said I think this team's going to win the national championship. Took a lot of crap for that one too, but I think we've got the best player in America. I think it is criminal that Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't spoken about more reverently for the Heisman Trophy. I mean, what more does the guy have to do? I mean, how dominant of a player is it? I mean, he's playing with a quarterback that isn't great. Let's just admit. I mean, Kyle's not great. I mean, he's not playing with Caleb Williams or the next coming of Justin Herbert or C.J. Stroud. He's playing with a okay quarterback, and he's just every week he is just roasting guys. And that's what if you had a draft of college football draft of every player in the United States right now, and I'm drafting, he's my number one pick. He's the most dominant player in college football, and I think it's just, like I said, I think it's criminal that he isn't the betting favorite for the Heisman Trophy, because he is the best player in the country.
Yeah, I just think that you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the year that Larry Fitzgerald was up for the Heisman, came in second, was clearly the best player, was clearly a first ballot Hall of Famer, had an incredible NFL career. And it's escaping me who won it that year, but it wasn't him. But you know, he won, like, I think the Walter Camp, and he won a bunch of awards, the Blitnikoff, but I can't remember who won the actual Heisman that year. But he, you know, it's kind of like that same thing where it's just a quarterback award. They don't really give it to anybody else. They don't really consider anybody else. Yeah, they've had some running backs in the past. I want to get to this. This was a huge play. This is Steele Chambers, another guy who gets a lot of crap and has been playing some good ball. He rips this ball out. Again, the wherewithal. Again, he's right here. He's in a dogfight with Braylon Allen, who's strong as an ox, pushing him forward, and he thinks enough to rip this thing out. He gets his arms around it, clamps it. These guys are trying to get him down. It's like a big dog pile. And he gets it out. I mean, this is all Steele. I mean, Steele does an outstanding job here. Davison coming in, Johnny on the spot, good hustle, Davison. Your thoughts on that? Because again, the defense forcing turnovers after a turnover, that's kind of like makes it even Steven. But your thoughts on that, Nevada?
Yeah, just a huge play, big play. The defense just seems to have the knack for knowing when we need them to rise up. I mean, I think the one time was that big drive coming out of the second half when they didn't stop them. But other than that, they answered every call. What was Wisconsin on third down tonight? I don't, like I said, I don't have the stats in front of me, but it couldn't have been great.
Yeah,
I mean, there was that 3rd and 15. They coming off the 1 yard line. That was a little less than optimal, but I thought in general that the defense just did a terrific job at key times.
Yeah, I'll get some stats up for us. Yeah, but I just think that the way the defense is playing, I mean, yeah, so Jason White's the guy that beat Larry Fitzgerald in the Heisman. So, I mean, everybody knew Larry was the guy, but he didn't win it. Let me get some stats up real quick for us. I just think that we've got, the way this defense is carrying us, it's almost criminal. It's criminal some of the spots that we put them into and how they dig us out of some of these holes, just in terms of the turnovers and the lack of production sometimes in the red zone. Another super chat. Appreciate you, Phil. I got stuck at a Halloween party in New Jersey. I missed the game tonight. That was a battle with myself. It sounds like I missed a McCord masterpiece. Hey, he won. Again, like I've seen really good teams. Like I was a part of that 2010 team when I was a coach. We went up to Camp Randall. We lost. That was a J.J. Watt game. So, again, like people can bag and be all flustered that it wasn't the most beautiful looking game ever, but all that matters to me as a former player is that we won. That's it. I don't care about anything else. It's wins and injuries. Third down, Wisconsin was 6 for 16. That is outstanding. We were 6 for 13, so we were a little bit better than they were. They were also 0 for 2 on fourth down. They had 259 total yards, 165 in the air, 94 on the ground. Again, that's absolutely fantastic. We controlled the possession 33 minutes and 50 seconds. They had 26-10. But the difference, the only reason this thing was even within 2 scores was 3 turnovers to 1. We turned it over 3 times. They turned it over once. We lost the turnover margin, and that kept the game close. But, we ran it for 181. That's really good. We averaged 4.2 yards a rush, but Trey averaged 6.8 a rush. So he's the meta. He's the guy. So where do we go from here, Nevada? I mean, again, obviously, people are concerned about Lathan Ransom, concerned about Kyle McCord's ankle. He gutted it out, finished the game out. But your thoughts on what's the ceiling for this team?
Well, I mean, it's gonna come down to Kyle McCord's ankle. I mean, if that ankle's bad and Devin Brown's in bad shape, then let's face it, we're at Lincoln Keen Halls for Tristan Gebbia, I mean, that's a problem. So, I've watched every team in the country play. We can play with anybody. We can beat it with this defense. We can beat anybody. When we get Emeka back, we're going to be even more dangerous. I think Ryan Day's evolving as a play caller. I like the contributions of all the wide receivers, the tight ends. We're even throwing the ball to the backs. So look, we can win the national. We got a more than good kicker, a kicker that's kicking at a 90% rate. So we've got all the elements. We can win the national championship. We just got to get healthy. We got to survive Rutgers and get healthy. And, hopefully none of the injuries are super long term. We'll know more in the next 24, 48 hours. But hopefully we can get out of, Wisconsin was a tough place to play. We're banged up. Hopefully it's not bad. But, we can survive it at other spots. We can survive it with Lathan. We survived it with Emeka. I'm not sure we can survive it if Kyle's got a injury, then that's going to be a problem. So let's all pray for his ankle, and hope for good things. And he's a tough kid. Hopefully, he can get it out and be full go by Rutgers.
Yeah, so this is a new play alert. This is something they put in this week. They've been running this orbit motion handoff. This usually is Xavier. This is usually the block O, 0. They have Marvin in the slot, so I think they called it. Normally this would be for X. So they fake it, and they actually pull back this way, and they also pull the tight end for a little counter action where he does like a little spin move handoff to Trey. Like this is actually a beautiful play. So it's kind of like a reverse inside handoff. Trey takes counter step footwork. He takes a step, and then he's like here, jab step, and then back in. Again, this is that's the kill shot. With Matt Jones has been fantastic at kick out blocks. He's the guy that killed the guy from Chop Robinson from Penn State, who still didn't play today because he concussed him so bad. Cade is coming in here to find some work. Got a good wall here, and it's just nice, easy running. Trey falls forward. This referee is in a great job by the referee assisting, taking out the free safety. Great job, bud. So, but again, that's like a nice little wrinkle to a play that's been really good for us is that orbit motion sweep. But your thoughts on that? Because I think that this is a point in the year in Nevada where you've got a lot of tendencies and you can saw a lot of plays that break those tendencies and kind of go opposite those tendencies. Talk a little bit about Ryan Day, just expanding some stuff because I haven't seen us run that. I think that's the first time we've ran it. And then, I got a Trey Henderson one for you right after you get done talking.
Yeah, well, I need to go back and go on the play-by-play and go on the call sheet. But I thought that there was a period of time where Ryan kind of went back to bad Ryan, and we started doing the let's run into the middle on first down and then throw on second and long type of thing, and that was less than optimal. But I thought for in general for the game, like you said, I thought we had some nice elements. We showed some creativity, and as a result, we had one of our best rushing game, maybe our best rushing game of the year. That's not an accident. That's not an accident. You just can't keep doing the same things, dragging guys into the box, running into mass fronts, and expect the rushing game to get better. But I thought they did some interesting things to try to help those guys out, and it worked out.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got the ultimate good Ryan play right here. I'm going to pull this one up. This is an absolute masterpiece by Ryan Day. So 3rd and 1, you guys know that watch the program, watch our film breakdowns, know how much I hate this condensed, loaded up, bring everybody in. You got Marvin here. Everybody's basically within about 8 yards of each other. And, you've got 53 yards or whatever across the field, and we've got everybody within 8. But if you do that enough, and normally we just hand this off and try to gut it out for you, but instead, good Ryan, who's Nevada Buck's best friend, shows up, and we run a little pick game, a little seal pick game, and then guess what? Guess who gets loose? Our boy, Trey. So, they're thinking, bring the house, everyone crammed up in here, and instead, flare pass. Oh my God. And guess what? Legal pick, because they know, because Julian's a smart guy, Ryan Day is a smarter guy. He's going to have trade man coverage. They've watched enough film, they know this. So Julian runs in there and whoops, accidentally picks the guy. So then you got Trey scot-free. This guy's not even looking at Trey because that's not his man coverage responsibility. And we dump it to him. And guess what? It works for a humongous gain on 3rd and 1. That is great, Ryan, in my opinion. But your thoughts on this play? Because again, I love the condense. You got Marvin here. You got Tate, you got Cade, you got Julian. It's all like tight up in here, and it's just beautiful to watch. Your thoughts on this, Nevada?
Yeah, easy. That's making the offense easier. I think sometimes we talk about how Ohio State tends to do things the most difficult way possible. Well, that's easier, and that was easy mode, and they got that's an easy throw for Kyle. That's an easy catch for Trey. And big play, almost scored a touchdown on it, and huge drive. Yeah, like I said, we just need to see more of that. We need to be less. When we're less predictable, we are more productive, and that's always been. It's not that our offensive line stinks or the guys can't block or we didn't have enough tackles playing guards or guards playing tackles or whatever other stupid narratives are out there. It's play calling. It's always about scheme. It's about scheme and predictability. When you're less predictable, your offensive line does better. Tonight was exhibit A of that, and I'll insist upon that to the day I die. That's always gonna be the case.
Yeah. And again, here's orbit motion again. This X again coming around. Again, I love this play because these guys, they got to set some edges here and do a little bit of stuff, but you don't have to like pulverize guys. You basically, it's just a full reach, full reach, full reach. Bring it in, and you got Chip is really good at lead blocking. He's really good at it, and I love watching him. He's a physical dude, and this is just an easy 5 yards. I mean, that's so easy. Like, I mean, basically, it's like, two edge guys have to get a block, and you automatically get 5 yards. This is great by G. Scott is getting better and better. He does not hold here, which is good. He's out here on the edge. That's a tough block, but he just keeps running his feet. Really nice block. I honestly thought G played his best game. I mean, he actually had 2 nice catches. He was blocking well. So I think he's, the staff's getting a little bit more confidence in him. But yeah, I think what percentage of some of the diversity in offense is tied to Trey's availability at this point, and now that he's available and he's healthy? Because I don't know if that swing pass works if we throw it to Mayan or if we throw it to Chip the way that it worked with Trey.
Well, it may not work the same way, but it still works, and so I can't give Brian a pass on that. I mean, Trey does add a different dimension, but I'm going to say 2 words that is something, because I know Ohio State listens to our stuff. Please run a screen pass. Screen pass. That's when you let the defensive guys come in and you toss it to somebody behind them, and your guys go out and block, and you're done. Other teams run them. They're very effective. I put a game on the on the board. I linked the 1989 Minnesota game. The game we were down 31-0, came back. The biggest plays of the game Ohio State ran that day were screen passes. Screen passes to Carlos Snow, and he made humongous plays with them. I don't know why we don't do that, especially against a team like Wisconsin that is just selling out against us. Blitz after blitz after blitz, pressure after pressure. Please run a screen pass. Please. They're not illegal. They're really easy to run. You guys can do it. I do not understand why we don't do that more. But end of rant.
I got another super chat. If you guys have questions, super chats automatically get answered. Appreciate you, Phil Lamore. Day gets Brown hurt last week, using him as a running back. McCord's typical pathetic play got him. Our star defensive players hurt. It's on the field because of a turnover, and now McSuck is hurt. But short of that, well, I don't know if you have a question, but if you have a question, you can throw it in there. But I think that's just more of a rant. I think JT gutted it out. I don't think JT's hurt. Brown, that's just part of the game. Again, Penn State's a dirty, terrible program. They were twisting his ankle, so I don't know how you can really defend that. But I think that, again, we won. Just remember that we won. There's a lot of teams that would kill to be, in the top. We're going to be in the top 4-ish, as long as nobody jumps above us. So, hey, we're just positive. Nevada, are we always positive?
Well, I mean, I know it's been hard to be positive all these years. Ohio State's been so bad. We only won
the winningest program in the world for the last 20 years.
Yeah, these have been tough times, but I tell Kirk every morning, I'm like, Kirk, you be strong, man. You be strong and don't give up. We'll be good at some point.
Oh God, you saw Clemson lost to NC State today. Oh God. Yeah, again, like the mighty fall pretty quick. Bama's slipping. Yeah, so I'm happy that we've been recession proof. Knock on wood. Another super chat. ZZM, appreciate you, my man. McCord is more capable than he plays. I really wonder why. Some of his throws are NFL. I mean, I think that the biggest thing is his pocket presence. I think he has to know when to step up. I think that's, if he steps up and just runs a little bit and slides. Again, when quarterbacks run, I don't want them to go and drop the shoulder on a safety or a linebacker. I just want him to slide, and he has to step up in the pocket and help his tackles out. Again, I had Troy Smith who I played with. If guys would get loose on the edge and he didn't step up, he would say, that's my bad, dude. I got too deep. Or if he goes, if a quarterback goes out and scrambles outside of the tackle box or whatever, and he gets sacked, that's his fault. And he knows that. Because again, you can only block him as to where you expect him to be. You expect him to be about 7 yards deep. And you expect him to get rid of the ball, pretty quick. I mean, especially when it's an empty protection. I got a tie leak deflection here. And it's funny because I thought Jack had a shot to pick this. We're showing zero pressure here. Tyleek has just been phenomenal. Like if Tyleek was in we don't promote our guys enough. That's probably the worst part about our program. If Tyleek was in a Georgia Bulldog uniform, he'd be up for for every award known to man right now. He'd be like the dude, the big dude from Georgia, Jordan Davis. Here's Lake. We're showing a zero pressure. We got 6 guys across, empty protection. We actually dropped Jack out to the flat, and I thought like when this guy's looking here, I'm thinking Jack might have a shot at this thing, and then and he's breaking right where the ball's going, but Ty Leak, who's been so incredible. He goes and again, like I love the scheme by our boy Jim Knowles because these tackles are terrified of JT and Jack coming off the edge because those guys, I know that people bag on them. These guys have been really good the last few weeks, and they're outstanding against the run, but they're very disruptive against the pass as well. But what they do is they drop him and JT, and they have our 2D tackles who are absolutely fantastic, rush the edges, and then these guys run a twist stunt in the middle. So that's really hard to pick up, because the tackles are both looking at that. So it's still a 4-man pressure, except these guys replace the linebackers because they're athletic enough to drop out of there. But Ty Leak has just been so good. I mean, Ty Leak's stat line, a sack, pass defense, 2 tackles for a loss. Again, he's got to get a Buckeye tree. I mean, he keeps this thing going. But Nevada, talk a little bit about the emergence of Ty Leak. I think he was kind of the sleeping literal giant because everyone talks about my call, JT Tuimoloau, even Jack Sawyer. But Ty Leak's been the guy this year, man. Talk a little bit about that.
A surprise player. I mean, what's unfortunate about that play is, like you said, he chose the one play to knock it down. I'm convinced that's a pick 6 by Sawyer on that play because he's right in the lane, breaking on the ball, and there's no one in front of him on that play. But no, Ty Leak he's been the single biggest surprise of the year because he came into the year. There was even a question that his career was kind of at an inflection point, whether it was going to go one way or another, or what was going to go. He was battling some weight issues, was not out there in the practice field all the time, and he's playing at a legitimate first-team All-American level right now. And that's got to go down as the single biggest surprise for the 2023 season. Has been the emergence of Ty Leak.
Yeah, and so this is something that they could do in an auto fashion where. These guys are really, 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 really smart players. They're very, very good players. So they'll figure out if the center slides this way, then Tommy's going to be the pick guy, and he's going to be what they call the penetrator, the guy that has to go up and take on the running back if there's running back in protection or get after the quarterback. But if he slides this way, which he does, then Steele is the pick guy, and he's the drive guy. And again, this is something that is an absolute pain in the butt to go against when you're an offensive lineman. This is a hard thing to drill. And again, we have basically 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 6 people occupied by 4 rushers, which is why you do this. And every guy's occupied. Like there's no free guys right here. And the quarterback still has to get rid of the ball hot because the pressure's coming. The thing about these quarterbacks is they're getting rid of the ball really fast. So I know that we beat on our ends like crazy and say how they suck and they don't get any pressure, but this guy catches the ball and it's gone in about 2 seconds. So how do you attack that? Interior pressure, which is why Jim Knowles is running these picks and trying to push Braylon Allen back into the quarterback, which we do. And then, when the ball's coming out quick like that, Ty Leak and Larry Johnson, just because I know Larry Johnson, I've played against Larry Johnson. I really love Larry Johnson. I think he does a great job. He knows that when we're running these pressure looks, that these guys are trained to throw the ball hot and get rid of it quick. So Ty Leak knows that, and he gets his hands up, and he gets a huge pass deflection and knocks the ball down to force a punt. But yeah, Nevada, again, I think that it's getting really, really quiet for the Knowles haters and the Trey Henderson haters because I'm telling you, those guys are, tonight, honestly, those are our 2 MVPs in my opinion because I thought our defense, we put them in some awful situations, and they bailed us out time and time again. Even that long punt return early on, some of these things that would give them some momentum, our defense would just absolutely stifle them. But your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think the Knowles hate is kind of slowed down, but I mean, the Trey Henderson hate was in full steam last week.
It was like the game.
Literally like last week. So it's like,
oh man,
you're like, guys, you're like, I like it. Yeah, I just feel like so this was the vindication game again, as if we needed more vindication on this stuff. But no, like I said, great win. Anytime you win at Camp Randall, it's a good win. That was a particularly really good win. Didn't cover the spread. I was a no bet this week on Ohio State. The game felt really undery to me. Game went comfortably under. So, feel like we've had a pretty good handle on this Ohio State team all year long, and this was one of those games. This was one of those games that was losable. It was a game that could have slipped away, and it didn't. And we won by 14, and we lived to play another game. And let's go get it done at Rutgers.
Yeah, I agree. I love everything about how this team's trending. Obviously, Lathan Ransom, prayers, dude. I hope you're good. But again, when these guys are going to have to walk out and stand on the sideline, I think they're going to have to go. I love that we were able to win without a Mecca, and you could keep him out for another week. Again, like any of these guys that are close, like I don't know how much you need him for Rutgers. I mean, I hope you don't need him for Rutgers, but the thing we need these guys all healthy for is Michigan. Obviously, that's going to be the war. That's going to be the one that all hands on deck. We need Trey at full. We need Mecca at full. We need Marvin at full. We need Kyle McCord healthy. We need Devin Brown healthy. But I like how this team's trending. I like the energy. Again, like Michigan is swirling the toilet bowl right now, and I feel like our guys are ascending. Again, I'm positive because again, I've seen good Ohio State teams lose to Wisconsin. And there was a time 20 years ago where Wisconsin absolutely owned us, and that was their big thing, and they beat us, and they beat like really good Ohio State teams just because that was kind of like their thing. And for us, like to just kind of come in there and dominate, because again, I write dominate, dude. If you go up there and you hold them to less than 300 yards and 10 points in their house for their Super Bowl, that's domination to me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know people say, oh, well, we gave up 10 points. Well, yeah, it's modern college football. You know how hard that is to do. And we stoned, I mean, for the most part, we stoned the running game. And like I said, I think that there's just a good energy about this defense. This defense got beat to death last year after that Michigan-Georgia game. I think that they're on a mission, and I think that they like carrying the team on their back. The final thoughts of that, we'll wrap this thing up. Again, this has been a fantastic night. We appreciate all you guys joining us, but your final thoughts from the game.
Just pray for McCord's ankle, man. We need him to be healthy. We got to get by. Rutgers is going to be a battle. I'm telling you, that's not going to be an easy one. That's not going to be a cakewalk. That's not going to be 45-0. We need McCord to be healthy. So
no. Why do you say that? Is that just because of Shiano? Is it because they're 6-2, or I don't know if they play off a bye week 6-2?
They're coming off a bye week. We're coming off the last. We played Penn State last week in the game of the millennium, and now this week we went up to Wisconsin and Camp Randall on their Super Bowl on a night game, and we're going to come back on short rest again on the road at Rutgers. It's going to be a game, and we're banged up right now. So I'm telling you. It's not going to be 45-0. It is not going to be a walk in the park next week. It's going to be a battle, and it's another one of those games where we just need to win by 1 point. And if Kyle's hurt, if he's legitimately hurt, then we've got some issues. So let's pray for Devin Brown to get healthy. Let's pray for Kyle McCord. Light a candle for Kyle McCord's ankle, and let's go get him against Rutgers.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm at. Like I said, I think Kyle, he just has to keep doing his thing, man. Like he's had a couple bonehead picks, fumble. He's got to get those out of his system. I mean, again, everyone knows this whole season's coming out of Michigan, so we got to keep tightening up. And again, with this defense, I've never been more confident, just because I think that the defense is what we need. That's the remedy against this running game. I think that guys like Tommy and Steele and Cody Simon are prideful guys, and they're guys that can step up. And frankly, I think that having Tyleek in there, like Tyleek, I can't talk about how good that dude's been. I mean, he's a guy, Buckeye Tree, you might as well just order it now, because he's grinding, and he's a terror on the inside. He's kind of what I think a lot of people statistically thought Mike Hall would be. But Mike Hall is just he's a good player. He had a really, really good tackle for loss tonight, but he's just not as big and as dominant as Tyleek is. And those guys side by side has been really good, And then you put Ty Hamilton in there to give those guys. Well, shout out Hero Canoe. Hero Canoe had a really nice play tonight. He was in there rotating in again. The hardest position physically to play, I think, in all of football, other than running back, is defensive tackle. Because man, when you're Tyleek and Mike and those guys, you're facing double teams all night from these 350-pound, big fat dudes from Wisconsin coming off running zone plays over and over again. That's exhausting, and it's also, it hurts. I mean, you're getting double teamed by two big dudes, and they're rocking you, and you got to hang in there and still make plays. And they do that 2 downs, and then it's third down, time to rush the passer, and you still get after it. So shout out to those guys. So Tyleek gets my defensive game ball, and then Trey, thank God you're back because, we don't want you to go anywhere. So that'll do it. You good, Nevada?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to go celebrate at In-N-Out Burger tonight. So if anybody's in LA, join me at In-N-Out Burger for a celebratory dinner.
Look for the man with the Chihuahua weenie.
Yes.
Getting in fights. All right, big dog.
Okay, talk to you.
So yeah. All right. We appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for enjoying this coverage. We loaded up some film for you guys. Appreciate you guys checking us out. Again, we're going to be at buckeyescoop.com all night long. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little dinner bell. You get an alert every time we go live. So break some film down for you guys. Again, I'd like to see some little nuanced stuff that's hard to catch live on TV. I don't catch all of it, so I know you guys probably don't either. So I like going back and watching the game and really studying it for you guys. So appreciate you guys so much. Jump on buckeyescoop.com if you guys are not premium members. Fantastic Christmas present. I know it's Christmas season almost, so go ahead and jump on that train, and we appreciate you guys joining the site, jumping on that message board. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. And I'm going to say this to Mark Dean, Stop It Cook. I know. Here's the deal. I haven't really lowered the standards. I got to respond to this. But I just like to win, I mean, this is a game of attrition. There's a lot of teams that wish they were in our shoes. Notre Dame's got 2 losses. Notre Dame looks really good, but they're out of the picture. So just win, baby. That's all I'm about at this point. And I appreciate how hard these guys work. They get to have a nice plane ride home, get home about 4 a.m. They're going to be tired and sore. They'll probably have tomorrow off from Ryan Day. So we'll get into all that. So thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. And thank you, Scoop family. Put your MVPs down in the comments. Shout out where you guys are watching from. I'm going to get on buckeyescoop.com. So if you guys want to join me, get on buckeyescoop.com. Right now, we'll be on the message board breaking down the game all night. So appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.